do some work, and I had a couple of things in mind to read, and I was like, I'm not doing any work. We are back. We are back. Playback. Playback is hot. Are you in? You're in, big boy.
Good.
Big boy. 25th Feb. Don't know why I do that, because I edit anyway. Straight up. Welcome back. Another episode of Nerf Martha. Shut!
In this next song, you must march around the room. Here we go.
Yeah, I know what the f I'm doing. Just sit down in the chair.
The quiet version.
So I'm going to try and be loud, but in this space.
Yes.
Rather than this space.
We can still talk, express.
Yeah.
But
we don't want to wake no sleeping giants, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Alright. Hey man, what's up?
What's up? What's up?
So things have been pretty good for us lately.
Yeah.
Load management's gone off.
Load management has gone off.
And it's great. You know why it's great? Because going off means people are starting to understand this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or take awareness of it.
That's the bigger one, is people now going, oh shit. There's a reason why we're not getting fitter, or we're getting injured, or it's now becoming more prevalent out there.
Exactly.
Which is great.
And you were telling me a story just before we started filming, about one of your guys from like 2016 messaging you.
Yeah,
follows you on the gram.
Yeah, Eric Jacobson, shout out. As I said, he was one of our only ever white imports with the Sixers. And as I said, back in the day, we got along well. We had a few little headbutts here and there. Mm-hmm. He was just a smart ass. I'm sure he still is, but we respect that. Yeah. I would deal with one pretty much every day. But yeah, so 2016 is when I started with him, and then he was only with us for one season, and then I moved on. I'm not sure where he went straight away, but he's in Japan now playing, and he messages me saying, love your stuff, love what you're doing, can you give me a bit of a hand? I'm in Japan playing, and I'm just fucked, like I'm exhausted, we're training hard, 2 a days, all this sort of thing. Yeah. Can you help me out with a schedule, like a weekly schedule to plan out my trainings, and so I'm not getting so exhausted. So essentially it's overtraining. Which is what we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, which is great. So and I'm 14
years I've been talking about it, but last 2 weeks out in public.
now they know we're talking about it.
Exactly, yeah.
So I was pretty happy someone come to me after
5
years and ask for some advice still.
That's awesome, cool. Man. So that's good stuff. I love it.
Thanks, E.
Yeah. I love it. So today we're gonna bring back, alright? Hang on, I feel like I need to help you out with that. Hang on. I'm gonna bring it all back, okay? And talk about load management part 3. Alright, the external factors outside physical that affect physical performance. As in, not necessarily expenditure of effort. We're going to talk about things like nutrition, stress, recovery, lifestyle.
The mental, the physiological.
A little bit about that.
Not the physical. Yeah.
Not the physical. We're gonna wrap up this little series we've done on load management. You like that?
3-part series.
3-part series.
Nice.
What is up? And we'll wrap it up on load management, so to give you guys a bit more of an understanding of how everything starts to affect the output that you can get from your athletes or from yourself, and how you can start to think about that yourself when you're coming in to do your RPEs, your wellness questionnaires, your objective measurements. You can have an understanding as to why you might be that way. And for coaches listening, you can have an understanding of why your athletes might not be performing as best as you want them to at that point in time.
Yep.
You know, if you're taking RPEs and you're looking at their physical performance factors and they're all consistent, all of a sudden it's like a huge spike in numbers, or they're feeling a little bit more out of it, you can be like, all right, cool, how's your nutrition been? How's your recovery been? What's happening here? So that's basically what we're going to chat about today.
Like a holistic approach we're taking today.
Well, yes, a holistic approach. It's
looking at everything.
What I found interesting the other day was someone actually referred to it as the high performance model. Right? Outside just S&C, you got S&C, then you got the high performance model.
Yeah.
And what we do, we're high performance managers.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that. I was like, that sort of stuff that I do anyway. Nutrition, recovery, sleep, stress, what's going on, how you're feeling. Yeah. I never actually put that label to it. Mine was always a holistic side of things. Yeah. This is how I think about it. So, high performance.
We're looking at all aspects, which is high performance now.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, you know what? We brought it back for you. It's on your side. You can start.
So this is where you cut me off last time.
I
So
know.
we're going to put it over there.
We brought it back. I had the idea. Like I said, I wanted to bring it back, and now's the time.
Cool.
Okay.
So what I was going to say back 2 weeks ago was essentially when we do that 5-question questionnaire for the wellness questionnaire, it was, now can I remember them today?
Go with it.
Can I remember them?
You surely can.
So you've got how was your sleep? How's your mood today? How's your muscle soreness? How's your energy? And I always forget one. It's probably the different one of what I forgot last time. I'm going to put a list. Let's say in the middle of this here. I'm going to put a list, and that's the 5.
This is the 5 here.
It could be what I said, it could be completely different, but there's a list of 5, and then all of them are out of 5. So you give a ranking. I'm 5 out of 5 today for sleep, meaning I slept really well.
Yeah.
Cool. So once you go through all of those, you get the numbers, you tally them up, and again, you start to find patterns, and that's the point where you can start to look into deeper. I just wanted to kind of say before, just come back to me now. We're now looking at the athlete as a human, not as just an athlete on court.
I actually, hold on that. I actually almost put a meme together the other day because I was like, I thought about this where, you know, the meme that you can see where it's like Drake and there's a little thing and then Drake's like, nah. And then the bottom one is like a little thing and the Drake's like, yeah. I was going to do one of that, which was going to be like, looking at humans as athletes, nah, and then looking at athletes as humans, yeah. Literally, I was like, about 3 days ago, I was like, I'm gonna put that up. And then
we're going to do it. We're going to put a Murph and My Ties logo on it. Done. Remind me of that.
Okay, anyway, go.
So that's pretty much what we're doing now with this wellness side of things. With this holistic or high performance model, is we're now looking at athletes as human beings.
Yes.
So they're not just these men, women on court, on field that, you know, do what they do amazingly well. There's also the other aspect of their life where they leave the field or court, they go home and they have to worry about food. Some don't because they're rich enough not to. They've got to worry about relationships and, you know, the rest of life like all us other human beings.
They got to consider it, not so worry about it. It has to
consider it. Sorry,
considered.
It needs to run through their head at some point, not just their sport. And that's now our in to figure or to discover why or what's going on other than just their sport.
Correct.
Okay, so your sport's lacking. Why?
Yep.
What's the deeper reason here? And we can use those numbers. Your sleep's been low for the last 3 sessions because once off is an anomaly. You don't worry about it. 2, now it's getting serious. 3, okay, now we're here. Now we're going to talk about this.
3 times of coming through.
Yep. And that's that pattern. So now we can go, okay, your sleep's been bad. What's going on? Now they might not want to talk to you as a strength coach. They might not want to talk to the head coach, which is mostly no, they won't want to because they're going to be worried about
game time,
decreased time or whatever.
Etc.
So that's where an external option is great. So I remember at the Sixers we had our chaplain or we had 2 psychologists, team psychologists they could go talk to and get all that stuff out. And they helped amazingly well because they could talk about all those things, get it off their chest, come up with solutions, strategies for that, then come back to the core and worry about, focus on
playing the game. I like that, the model for those who don't have psychologists or don't have chaplains to help them out, providing athletes understanding that, okay, there are things happening, here's the patterns. Now I'll let you go and decide what you want to do with it. You know what I mean? So for my Div 3 teams or my Div 5 teams or whatever, okay, something's happening. You know what's happening. You might want to talk to me or the head coach. That's fine. But I would recommend going to see that this disorder. I'd recommend going to see maybe find a psychologist or find a friend or find some family that you can just get it out.
Someone you like to talk to.
And then go from there. So just for those who don't have the options of that in the team setting. Continue.
That can be for any of those wellness, because none of those wellness things are about your physical self.
None of the wellness scores.
There's a general muscle soreness, which I know that's in there, so we'll put it up on the list. But even that could be due to something else. So that's where we can now look into that physiology, the physiological side and the mental side, and see is there anything else besides just the physical.
I like to think about it in the way I sort of start to describe. Okay, cool. Well, how are you feeling? Nutrition, stress, whatever that's coming up. Is that if you have a big meal, how are you going to feel after that meal? you know, and they go, oh, I feel a bit shit, a bit sluggish, whatever. I'm like, cool. Think of that on a smaller scale where you're having foods that aren't right for you, you know.
I was talking about this last night with those 2 clients I pulled into
Where?
exactly that stuff.
Foods that aren't right. I've talked about it about 4 times this week. I've got one of my guys, Mark. I said to Mark, hey man, try no wheat products for 2 weeks and see what happens. Yeah. Right, he's Indian, so he's a little bit like, I want roti bread. Okay. So I think by the time this goes up, we'll have his 2 weeks done. But he's like, energy's better, feeling better, you know. But like on that note, is that foods are going to affect you. Yeah. And if they affect you while you're processing, you know, anywhere from like say 4 hours to 36 hours, and you overlay that and overlay that, it's going to have a physical effect. You know, how do you feel when you're like depressed or sad or angry? You know, do you feel like you can perform the best? Yeah. No, you don't. Exactly. Right? And so start to tie that in. Like I try and empower the athletes and empower the coaches to think, okay, cool, well, this is a direct correlation between mindset, nutrition, on the body. You know, think about it for yourself. Everyone goes through it like, oh my God, big pasta meal, I'm going on the couch. Yep. You know, same thing happens when you're not eating foods that are right for you, or you're not actually, you know, divulging your, or understanding your emotional state. That's coming out. And then obviously recovery is one that's now, I've noticed in the last maybe 2 years, maybe 18 months even, like recovery seems to be getting a lot more prevalent. People talking about recovery more so. I don't know if it's the shift from so active recovery, the shift from, you know, people just sleeping after games and doing their regular life, or it's this whole, you know, Normatec have brought in some like recovery sleeves, and you get these like recovery baths and whatever, this kind of shit. So either way, like, okay, recovery is getting more known. Yeah. For whatever reason. Yeah. But that's also part of it. So, you know, you need to recover your body so you don't then overtrain, or so you can perform better, etc., etc. Yeah.
The other thing was sleep.
Yep.
Massively important. And this goes on, so what we learn in Czech is the circadian rhythms. Mm-hmm. And I actually went through workshops with this with my athletes of getting them to understand the hormone fluctuations through cortisol and melatonin over the days according to sunlight, and how we can shift that hormonal balance in the wrong direction if we force ourselves to do things that are against our natural.
You can phase shift it, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that obviously is bad. That's going to be bad for us, because eventually your body's going to fight back, and we're like, no, that's not what we're made for.
Correct.
This is what we're supposed to do. Unfortunately, in the real world, textbook is not perfect.
Correct.
Like, you can't always stick to that. Fortunately for most athletes, you can, because they don't really do that much at night time.
You do, well, professional, you're doing professional.
Professional, yeah.
You got to remember, we've got the spectrum.
Spectrum, okay, yeah, sorry.
Most of our people that we talk to, and those listening or watching, would be...
They'll have day jobs as well.
You know, like I would say 90% of that. So if we talk to that as well, professional athlete, you can, you know, pay your chef to whatever, and... Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Pay your sleep and put you to sleep.
Pay your sleep and put you to sleep, tuck you in. Yeah. Right, exactly. Put the music on.
Nanny. Yeah.
Salt lamp, whatever.
So I think just quickly, we'll go into that circadian rhythm a little bit, just to expand on it. Okay, cool. So circadian rhythm is based on the movement of the sun and the moon. Mm-hmm. So as the sun comes up, light starts to enter the window. Light synthesizes with the skin and releases cortisol. Mm-hmm. You like this, do you?
I'm like, loving this shit.
Releases cortisol, which is your waking, your activity, your action, your movement hormone.
Stress hormone.
Stress hormone.
Get things happening.
Exactly. So that normally peaks around 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's at its highest point, which is when, like, ideally, again, textbook, you should be training. Doesn't always happen, as I said. Unless you're a pro athlete, normally at that time you're working. Unless you're a strength coach, which then maybe not so much working. This strength coach is always working. So ideally, that's when you train. That's at your highest point of cortisol. After that, it starts to gradually, slowly drop off. I should be doing this way for the camera. And at that point, melatonin starts to come up. Melatonin is your recovering, your sleep, your relaxation hormone, your repair hormone. And that starts to get at its highest. I'm pretty sure it's around 10 p.m. till 2 a.m.
Is when you're deepest recovery, organ recovery.
And that's where, you start to repair mentally, physiologically, physically as well over the nighttime. Mm-hmm. And then obviously in the morning, you start again when the cortisol, the sun comes up. So when we were saying before, you can shift those changes. If you force yourself to get up earlier, cortisol has to get up. They both can't be up at the same time. Melatonin and cortisol are always opposing each other. So you can't have both. You can't repair and break down at the same time. It's one or the other. So as you get up early, say I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. this morning to force out a workout, you've forced cortisol to be released from your body, in your body earlier, which means forces melatonin down, which then means you've now decreased the amount of recovery time you've got, or you should have had. Vice versa at night time, if you're saying I'm going to train at 8 o'clock at night, or I'm playing, now this is even for pro athletes who might play a 9 o'clock game, now you're pushing your melatonin down again, that's your recovery repair hormone, pushing that down, increasing cortisol, that's more stress you're putting your body through, physiological load, and less recovery overall. Keep doing that a few times, overload. Yeah,
so we're talking ideal worlds here. So in the real world, as you like to talk about it, the idea being that you work with your phase shift. You work with your circadian rhythm rather than against it.
Yep.
You know, in real world, it's not possible. So what we're going to go is like, well, how do you then ensure your recovery? You know, so when light hits the skin, like
you know what it is? It's balancing all the plates.
Episode number 23 or something? One of them.
I think it's 2 of them actually.
There was, because it's balancing all the plates in the air, but the idea that when light hits the skin, stress hormones are released and you stay awake, right? It causes you to wake up. You know, something that I do in the evenings. Now I've got my own place, not my housemates anymore. I start to turn off all my lights at night time, because the lights on late at night affects the skin. Like physiologically, you're awake, right? So that's how it affects the skin. It affects the body, you know. So when I get home, I'll have like the sun will set. I got obviously sun coming through windows, or whatever. And then as it starts to get darker, I will have one light on in my apartment.
Yep.
You know, and
the Himalayan salt lamp.
Himalayan salt lamps. Okay, I have one light on, because what happens is that it starts to get darker.
Yep.
The body starts to relax a little bit, it starts to calm down a little bit, and you go into that recovery phase. You know, and if you're playing late at night or you're training late at night, and your stress hormones are up, active hormones are up, like keeping you awake, when you get back home, I go turn the lights off. You know, as many as you can, like chill out, have a small meal, you know, and then start to go to bed, and then start getting into the recovery from there. You know, it's difficult to do, but if you can understand if you understand like the light, you know, you understand phase shifts, you understand circadian rhythms and how you can work with that, you start to get a lot more from this performance model, and you start to get a lot more from your output as well. You know, and so I like, that's why I was like, circadian rhythms, hit it.
Yeah.
Go with it.
And it all comes down to, and this is what I spoke about with my clients last night, was on the spectrum of where you sit in your desire to achieve what you want to achieve, is how much effort you're going to put into this stuff.
Absolutely.
So if you're 100%, I want to be the most successful soccer player, football player, cricket, whatever you want to do, that's what I want to do, that's my life dedication, then you will do all of this stuff 100%. If you're in that 50-50, you know what, it's more of a social game, I just want to play around, then you go, you know what, I'm going to stay up late every now and then. And so it's depends on how much effort you want to put into these things, is how much you're going to get back. We could take it even further, like, you know, okay, turn lights down and start to chill out, then don't read stressful books. Don't read things that are going to make you think too much.
Turn your technology off.
Turn technology off. There's so many things, like this is a rabbit hole we could just keep plunging into. Some of those things, just they're not going to work for, and most people aren't going to listen to them all because it's a lot to ask. Yeah. You can't give it everything, but that, again, the balancing place is if you can't do one thing, there's still like 30 other things you can do. Yep. So you can still get away with watching an action movie at night time because your diet's good, you're hydrated, you've turned everything else off, you go to bed without electricity in the room. Yep. There's all these other things you can do to make sure your vice is still viable for you. Correct.
And you know my thing, in my room, my house, I have a rule. Right? Yep. No electronics in my room. Yep. You know, one thing I hate personally, and I hate in general for mental stress and for physical stress is like
electromagnetic stress.
Electromagnetic stress is like phones in bed or computers in the room or whatever. Yeah. Number one, if you've got your phone in bed, you're distracted. Number one, so your mind's still going. You're seeing whatever. Right. Number two is that it's the light stress, right, that affects the pupils, and then affects the you got ocular. We got ocular. No, got ocular too much, but like affects here, affects into the brain. And from there, and so you get this, like, you're not able to recover. Yeah. You know, so no electronics in the room. Bring yourself down, because things affect you outside of you knowing that they're affecting you. You know, like I said, the light, you know, lights on, I can see my stuff. I'm not conscious that that's actually keeping me awake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so encouraging hormonal, what would you call it? Recovery.
Yep.
Basic recovery itself, and the high performance model is designed to ensure that the body can recover as well as it can, and then can perform as well as it can.
Yep.
You know.
Where would you say, so if someone came to you and they're exhausted, they're physically, they look good, that they can perform well in a gym, on the field or court, but they're just feeling really flat, what's like the first 3 things you would start to suggest to them to change?
Okay, so is this someone I've seen before? Like they've just come to me, I don't know nothing about them?
Someone I've seen before, because obviously if you know nothing about them,
This is a big
that's
rabbit hole.
complex question.
I would say, how did you sleep last night?
Yep.
Number 1, all right? And then, are you stressed? You know, how's your work?
Yep.
How's your relationships? How are you feeling about, you know, life itself? Are you anxious? Are you concerned with things? Like, that's where I would start.
Yep.
And then see what they say from there.
Yep.
Provided they're comfortable to talk to me about these things, you know. That's where I would start, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not necessarily sleep last night. If they go, sleep last night was okay, broken, whatever. I then start to take it to the point where, okay, well, what time did you wake up? You know, and is this a regular thing? Are you waking up at 3 a.m. every day?
Are
we going there?
Stuff.
You know,
I don't remember all the organ relationships.
So basically, the idea with this is that, you know, if you're waking up throughout the night at certain points throughout the night at a regular time, you will generally what's happening is that there's generally a cortisol release in the body. Right, there's a stress release in the body that wakes you up. It's activity hormone, as you mentioned before. Now, there's a reason that stress hormone is waking you up at that time every night, regardless of what your day is like, regardless of what your evening is like. Because as the body goes through its recovery phase, as you mentioned before, between 10 and 6, right? Or 10 and 2, sorry, 10 and 2.
It is 10 and 6 overall.
It's 10 and 6 overall, and
peak,
10 and 2
yeah.
peak. Between that, say, sun goes down, sun comes up, the body goes through organ recovery, right? And systems are recovered in the body at certain stages throughout the evening. You know, digestive system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, all things recovered in certain phases, right? You need to make sure the brain is functioning well first, recovers first, right? Or effort is put into making sure that works well. Then the heart needs to keep pumping because we need blood, right? So then that's the next sort of phase of recovery. Then it goes down through that respiratory, digestive, etc., etc. And throughout those phases, you get different organ recovery, you know? And so, for example, 3 to 4 a.m. is usually like
It's liver or stomach, is it?
detoxification.
Yeah.
So digestive and detox.
Yeah.
You know, and so they need to be good, but they're not high priority because you can live, you know, longer without detox than you can without a heart.
Can you?
You can.
I know a lot of people that have hearts and they're all good.
they're all good. So, you know, and so it's these sorts of things. So that's when you can take it that next step further in regards to like a high performance model. All right, cool. Well, this is a conversation. You know, we mentioned a while back, like in the last couple of episodes of that, have the conversation. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
You know, and then you can start to see the more that you understand as a coach, the more you understand as a strength coach or high performance manager, you can then start to delve a little bit deeper and see, okay, cool, well, why aren't you sleeping? What's happening here? Is it a nutritional deficit that's not allowing you to recover right? Is it a stress deficit? Is there something deeper going on?
Yeah.
You know, and then you could take those steps. So that's where I would start with that question. It's a very complex question. You know, like, where would you start with someone that looks like this, that physically they can function, but they might not be there.
Yeah.
Like to the mental and to the like the deeper levels of recovery.
And just on that, the first time you ask someone, they're probably not going to give you a very good answer.
No.
The second time, still not a very good answer. Third time, maybe, but still probably not a very good answer. So you need to, well, this is a good segue for later on. You need to build that trust with someone. The trust.
Next episode,
with
coming up.
someone, for them to be able to start to divulge information about their life outside of what you're known in. So you're known as high performance manager, strength coach in sport. They don't consider you someone who gives a shit about the rest of their life.
Yep.
But the more you start asking these questions and like actually caring about it, then obviously you're caring about them as a human, but also for their performance on the sporting
realm you know them,
area. The more you start asking the questions, the more they start realizing, shit, he actually cares, she actually cares, then they're going to start giving you more information.
Yep.
Then you can start helping that person a lot more.
Yep.
And then the team, because they're going to say, look, go talk to them, because they're going to know, they give a shit.
Yep.
They're going to be able to help you out somehow.
Yeah. And the questioning so the answers get better because you ask the questions and then they go and think about it.
And you're educating at the same time.
Correct.
Which is going to bring out more questions or more answers.
What's happening here, here. And it's that kind of thing that allows you to, like you said, start with one player, and if you can build that out to the team, you're going to start to get a team that is understanding now. We have just started it with Marion. Bryn, one of my coaches out at Marion, he basically said the other day, so the girls started putting things in group chat, my hand is sore, this sore, whatever. Like, it was probably 2 or 3 of them at the time, right? In a team of like 35.
Yeah.
And he messaged me and he's like, hey man, should we put in the group chat something about RPEs? And I said, absolutely. Because I was going to talk to them that night about it. I was like, cool, it's in the group chat. Awesome, they're thinking about these things now. You train on Saturday, let's have a chat Monday night. Mm-hmm. I do it in person. And then from there, I would go, then put it in there. But he's, let's see what it goes. I said, done, let's do it, put it in there. So then he puts in the group chat about, if you're feeling sore, put these numbers in, let us know where you're at, blah, 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 blah. And so we got, 5 people respond out of 35. So 5 now, 10 next, 15 next. But that allowed us then when we got to the session in the evening, we sat them down in the change room. We were like, cool, here's what this come from. So we just flip the way we were going to do it. You put the scores in. The reason we asked for this is because we need to make sure that you guys are good and that you guys are good to train.
Yeah.
That it's not like Sophie's at a 9. We're not going to train her, or she's not fit enough, or someone says at a 2, we're going to train them harder. It's like, okay, cool, where are we at in the spectrum? And so when we're doing our, say, group sessions, when we're doing our group drills, we know that I'm not going to push Sophie as much as I'll push Murph. Mm-hmm. In that drill. No, I'm not going to ask more of you. I'm not going to say you can go further, because I know you come to me and you said I'm a 9.
Yeah.
And so it allowed you to tailor that almost that individualization of the drill to that person, understanding where all the players are at.
Yep.
Overlaying that from those questions.
And again, bringing this right back to the very first episode of the series is these are things that anyone can do. Mm-hmm. They cost nothing financially. Mm-hmm. Pen and paper, maybe. They cost very little time-wise. Mm-hmm. You don't need degrees, experience, whatever to go through them. You can just start immediately today. Start asking for numbers.
Yep.
As a head coach, as an assistant coach, as a strength coach, doesn't matter who you are, if you're in front of athletes, this is what you can start immediately and get a result pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Again, not the first week because you need to start seeing some patterns, but within the first month, you can see a result straight away.
Yep.
Again, it's free, it's easy, it doesn't take much time, and the results are huge because number one, you're going to get better buy-in from players because now you care more.
Yep.
You're not just being their coach. Now you're being someone
out there.
Yeah. Now you're being something more than that, and they're performing better.
Yeah.
Win-win. It's a win across the board.
And the thing is to extrapolate out, it's not just athlete development. Like you said, it's the athletes as a human.
Yeah.
But it's also anyone who exercises and wants a healthy life as a human.
Yeah. Any client who comes into the
benefit.
gym, I'm talking about even poo.
Oh, we got on there. A little bit.
A little bit
of a poo.
So we talk about poo in the gym.
Too much.
We talk about poo. I'm sure I've talked about with my boys at some point. I'll let you do this one because I've said the other stuff.
No, I want to hear your poo. You hear me talk about poo all the time.
So I actually did my own version of the poo circus.
Okay.
No, it was the poo police.
The poo police.
I did the poo circus.
Okay.
I don't know if I've still got it. If I do, I'll post it.
Okay.
But I did take it from Paul Checks. So again, this is a check thing. Oh, what if I've still got it? Anyway, basically talking about looking at poo because poo is
a physical indicator of the internal workings of your body.
Couldn't have said it better. So that's exactly what it is. What comes out determines what's happening inside.
Yeah, is an indicator of...
Can you see bits of food? That means something. Does it stink? It means something. Is it sloppy or hard? Are they little nuggets stuck together or nuggets separate? All means something.
Love it.
Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? Means something.
Are you straining? Because if you're straining, it's not good.
What
you need to work on something.
Is there teeth marks in the toilet door? If that is, it means something.
Yeah.
I think they say a good poo is meant to feel good coming out, is meant to not float, it's meant to
Like a perfect dive.
Earthy smell. Color is symmetrical across the poo. One whole piece. Like, this is the perfect poo. Do you notice you check?
I check all the time.
Absolutely.
I love it.
You assess, like,
Like, how am I doing today?
cool, I'm doing well. Oh, need some more water.
But it's an indicator, and I love it. I love it.
You can't lie with that.
No.
It is what it is.
Poo is.
Poo is.
Oh my god. Poo is.
That's the title. Poo is. And it's an interesting way to start to breach that with your clients, athletes, humans, because not many people are used to or feel overly comfortable talking about their own poo, especially with a stranger.
I found that once you get over the stranger part, once you're friends, I found that people quite happily in the gym chat about poo.
Yeah, but
It's a bit
the
different.
gym environment we have is...
Yeah, fair, that's a bit different.
We talk about lots of different shit we probably shouldn't be talking about.
That's true.
I think the way to breach it is to make it funny.
Yeah.
It takes the awkwardness away from it. I think that's why Czech did the poo lineup, and I've done the poo circus, is to make it like, there's a bit of fun in games, let's talk about your shit.
Yeah.
And have a bit of fun with that, and that sort of relaxes, brings down their walls, and they can start talking about.
And it's something that you can do. It's something you can do by yourself. You know, that's what I like.
Once you know it.
Well, you'd hope you do by yourself. He said, Murph, come to yourself.
You could stick the poster on the wall and go.
I've actually thought of it. So at the gym, we've got the dehydration scale in all the toilets. I have thought about printing out the poo police, the poo line up and putting it there, but I thought I need to put it out there to the members and the clientele a little bit more before
just do
it.
it.
You can just do it?
Just do it.
It's going to happen. Done.
Tomorrow, big A1 sheet of poos.
On the wall. Where you at? So I like it because what I like to do and what I like to, I think I mentioned before, empower, and educate.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, cool, we're going to talk about this, it's funny, haha, but when you go do it, you're going to think about it and go, oh shit, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And there's obviously with each type of matter that you're excreting, there's a correlating indication of, okay, cool, yeah, am I dehydrated? Do I need more fiber? Is this happening? Is that happening? You start to look a bit deeper, and you actually get to know what's happening.
Yep.
And you actually go, okay, cool, well, that was good, so therefore the last 4 to 6 hours have been good.
Yep.
What do I need to do again?
And likewise with food and how you feel. As I say to my clients, I'm not going to give you a food plan. I want to coach you how to listen to your own body.
Correct.
To figure out your own food plan. Like if I give you something, you're going to use it and get bored of it, or because if I give you something, generally you're going to have to measure things or weigh things up and all that sort of shit. Most people don't want to do it, hate doing it, or get sick of it pretty quickly. But if I can coach you how to listen to your own body, so you can start to figure out your own diet, that's then going to last you forever.
Correct.
Yes, your diet's going to change, but then you realize now that's not working. This is how I can change it to make it better and better suit whatever I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm sure you do the exact same thing. Is coaching your clients, your athletes. How do you feel now? Obviously, it didn't work. Or did work. Keep going. No, it didn't work. What can we change?
Yep.
What did you feel? That means this. Let's change it to suit better.
And it's interesting with food because food is one that people have opinions on, and there's cultural influences and familial influences and background, like how you were brought up, all this kind of stuff. There's all these ideas on that. And so hence why I don't go with food plans. Same thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, cool, try eliminate these known, I say foods, like try and minimize these known inflammatory markers.
Yep.
See how you feel.
Yep.
If you don't like it, do you. We'll find another way.
Exactly.
Balancing plates. But it's a matter of like understanding that as well. You know, and now we start talking. Now we're looking at high performance model. Now we're looking at people, looking at our athletes as humans first. How can we get the best out of them as humans, and then take it to that next level where now they're coming to perform for us. Most of the people that we deal with, most of them, and most of the people that we talk to, are maybe pro, but semi-pro and down. And so they've got lifestyles. We've got to work with your lifestyle. What's this look like? How we work. And there's a big conversation on Twitter about high school athletes and college athletes training at 6 a.m. Because you're getting them up early to affect their sleep, it affects circadian cycles, affect the rhythms, and then you want to train, and then you've got to go throughout their day. Obviously there's the flip side of that is that, okay, gym space is limited.
Yeah.
It might be the only time you can get them in.
Depends what school we're talking.
Depends what school we're talking, right? But, you know, in that regard, it's like, okay, cool. Well, what's optimal and what's actual?
Yep.
You know, and then you work on that regard.
Yep.
We could keep going. Like, I feel there's so much like in the air that we could just pull out and we can just keep talking about this.
I think that there's enough for people to walk away and go,
Yep.
we can do some shit today.
And
Today.
check out your shit today as well.
And check out your shit today as well.
On that note, we will be back next time.
Trust us, we'll be back.
Trust us. Mathematics.